This episode is brought to you by Onnit. Ever feel like your brain just won't click? Onnit Alpha Brain is a daily supplement engineered to support memory, focus, and mental speed. Made with science-backed ingredients, Onnit Alpha Brain helps you lock in, tune out distractions, and stay sharp. Unlock your flow state. Visit onnit.com for 15% off Subscribe and Save and get in the zone.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
Welcome to another episode of Next Move presented by Coach Portal. A lot of great coaches start at the high school or junior college level, but what does it take to move up and become a full-time position coach at the Division I level? Today on The Next Move, we're talking about practical steps and strategies to make that big jump. If you haven't already signed up for your 6-month free trial at Coach Portal, upload your resume, share your success stories, and get on the radar of college staffs. Visit coach-portal.com and enter the code CCPodcast to make your next move. Joining me today to discuss our topic is the running backs and recruiting coordinator at Bryant University, Brandon Linney. Brandon, great to have you here. I appreciate you taking the time.
Great to be here, Keith. Awesome opportunity just to be able to come on your platform and be able to speak. I'm excited and looking forward to it.
Coach, I think everybody has that aspiration when they get into coaching, especially you start at the high school level that, hey, I want to climb through this profession and get to the D1 level, right? And keep climbing from there. And that's something you've been able to do. So we're going to lean into some of the insight that you have into it, some of the things that you've done. What are a few of the things that you've done to help yourself stand out in this profession and set yourself up to be able to get to the level you're at now?
I think the first thing, it sounds cliche because a lot of coaches say it, but it truly is being where your feet are and making sure you understand that it's a process and it's a progression, whether you're at the high school level or the junior college level. I'm on both, but it's important to understand that there's a reason why you're there and embracing the opportunity. It's a blessing to be able to coach regardless of the level. At the high school level, you can impact a lot of kids' lives and even parents' lives and teachers or administrators in your building. And also, too, moving up into the junior college level, some people may look at it and say, hey, you're starting at the ground basis, which you are, but it's necessary because it teaches you so much on details, recruiting, the relationships with players, doing the grunt work and things that a lot of people don't see that's behind many programs because it's not as flashy as the great D1s, the Alabamas, the LSUs, all of that. No, it's truly, hey, we're a staff, we're a collective of 12 to 15 men led by the vision of the head coach, and we've got to do everything. And so it really teaches you to be grounded in the details and learn and embrace the opportunity that you have because you're still a college coach, regardless of the level. And even at the high school level, you're still a coach and you're still making an impact. So that's kind of just the mindset and mind frame that I've had and that's helped me to be able to excel.
Coach, in part of this process as you're moving up, really it is about finding ways to add value. If you want to get your own room, especially get your own room at the higher levels, you're going to have to show along the way that you can add value and do some things in order to get there. It is about building those connections and that network, but also showing that I've got something to offer. How did you go about doing that?
Well, I was taught by a great man named Kelsey Harris. He's the head coach of Garden City. He was at Independence Community College. And the first thing he told me when I walked into the door was, you're a young coach. You're not going to know everything about football, but you are able to relate to players. And you also need to be able to go find players and evaluate. And so the biggest thing to make it add value while you're learning, how to teach, because as a football coach, you are a teacher at the end of the day, right? But you're also, I don't say I'm a recruiter. I say I build elite relationships because at the end of the day, right? I think recruiting, when you say the word recruiting, sometimes it's, hey, I can do this for you. No, I want to build a relationship with you. And that's what I tell players and parents because I recruit families when it comes to programs. So I learned that, and that was how I became valuable when I first started out, as I was learning more schematics, rather defensively or offensively, to be able to bring something to the program that other people couldn't. And so that's the basis. That's the ground level. And also, too, doing things that other people aren't willing to do. Rather it's going to get coffee, rather it's going to cut. I'm old school, so we didn't have the fancy arms and things. I didn't get that later until my career with recruiting boards, but I had the old school where I had to cut and laminate and make sure stuff was fitted correctly and put up on the board, and it had to be done in a timely manner to make sure we were ready for the next meeting and doing whatever coaches asked, whether it would be go and get players, pick them up, travel with coaches on the road and recruiting, learning that process too, because that is a process of learning how to talk to people, learning relationships, speaking to a kid who I'm from the East Coast, so traveling up and down 95, it's going to be different than talking to a kid who's from Texas, Oklahoma, or Missouri, the places where I've been at. I had to learn those things, and when I did, it served a lot. And also too, building connections as well that have sustained me all the way up at the level where I'm at now.
Coach, as you look at the way you've moved through the profession, what were some of the most important moves or decisions you made in moving from high school and junior college up to higher levels of college football?
I think the most important thing is you can't chase the money. I took unpaid volunteer positions because I knew it was valuable to be in the room to learn from people. Everyone's financial situation is different. But for me personally, I felt like those moves that I made from going from high school to junior college to even Division II is to making sure that you understood that you are here to learn how this business operates. And there's two parts of the business. There's teaching and schematics, which, like I said, again, football coaches are nothing but teachers, but there's also too recruiting and relationships. And so you've got to get around someone or be connected with people who are also willing to show you and pour into you, and also too making sure that you are humble enough to know that you don't know everything. I think that's kind of the moves that I made to say, hey, I'm going to bet on myself and take risks and to become a well-rounded and a great coach.
Coach, I think anytime you move up a level, once you get there, you realize there's maybe some things you didn't know or weren't as detailed about. But what do you feel that high school or even junior college coaches underestimate about coaching as they move up the level?
I think sometimes the underestimation is that at the end of the day, ball is still ball and teaching is still teaching. Right. I believe in adhering to the 3 learning styles of teaching. That's kinesthetic learning, action and showing the player, rather visual, and also too audio, making sure that you understand that to be a great football coach, you got to be a great teacher, and you got to make sure you're hitting all 3 of those in the room. It's not just about going to get that 5-star player or that big time player that you might have 1 or 2. You got to be able to reach that guy who may be at the bottom of your depth chart or the bottom of your room, but you never know that next opportunity, that guy could go down, his time could be ready, and you have to be able to make sure that you have prepared everybody in the room to be able to perform at a maximum at their ability. So for me personally, I think all the steps that I've been at and all the places that I've been at, I've had to learn that. Whether it be high school, junior college, that's what that taught me. And then secondly, to answer your question too, from a recruiting standpoint, you've got to make sure that you are always prepared, because just like, Keith, today's college football, players can up and leave whenever. In junior college, it's a lot of turnover in the roster. And you've got to be able to have sustained and great connections at the high school level, prep level, even in college football, to be able to go find players at that level. But it's also served me great dividends at the Division I level now with all the rule changes, with guys hopping in the portal, being able to leave. I've had to lean on a lot of those relationships that I've built over the years to be able to make sure I sustain my room. And so those 2 things are really what I think you can't underestimate as a high school and junior college coach, because you learn those things at that level.
Coach, I think a lot of guys who have those aspirations to move up, and I think we've all experienced this, I think there's points where you feel frustrated, maybe even feel stuck. I think a lot of that really is, you truly aren't. You're just progressing and not seeing the progress you make. But what advice do you have to someone out there who maybe feels stuck and wants to break into the college ranks?
I think the most important thing is you've got to make sure college coaches know who you are, especially at the high school level. It's one thing to have players, but you also need to be visible on those campuses. You've got to exhaust every opportunity, whether it's emails, text messages, calls, DMs. I've heard guys even walk on campus and try to get attention to coaches. I don't truly believe in that you get stuck. I truly believe that if you network and you do it the right way, building genuine and true relationships with people, and you truly pour into your passion and your purpose, somebody will find you. The good Lord will be able to put someone on your journey to be able to say, hey, I want to bring you along to be able to help you to get to where you land. And for me, that's what I've tried to do. That's how I got my first opportunity. I was a high school coach, and I think Coach Harris actually tell you, I probably emailed him about 4 or 5 times, right, to be able to just get an opportunity, and finally responded, told me I had 7 days to get here. I think maybe even less than that. And, I was there within 48 hours, and my journey in college football took off. So I'm not a believer in getting stuck. I believe if you work and you have a work ethic and there's a battery pack in you that you continue to drive and keep going for what you want, the good Lord will bless you with that.
Coach, I appreciate the insight and the stories and sharing what you've been through in this process. And I know it can help some coaches out there. And best of luck to you and the Bulldogs here in 2025.
I appreciate you, Keith.
The best college coaches started exactly where you are and made the most of every opportunity to get there. Make sure your resume, story, and coaching philosophy are visible to the right staffs. Sign up today at Coach Portal for your free 6-month trial and take the next big step. Visit coach-portal.com, enter the code CC Podcast, and make your next move.